Hello, and welcome back to the MHU football interview series. Today we have Beau DeBerry. Thanks so much for joining us today, man.
Yeah, thank you, man. Thank you for having me on.
Absolutely. All right, so first, why don't you just give us your position, where you're from, and kind of how you got into football.
So I'm from just East Atlanta, Georgia, a little town called Grayson, only known for sports. So from Grayson, Georgia, lived there the past 10 years. Went to school at Grayson High School. My name is Beau DeBerry. I don't know if you said that or not. My name is Beau DeBerry, and I play tight end here. I'll be a rising senior.
Awesome. So your dad's involved in sports, correct?
Yes, he is.
Okay. Is that kind of what got you going, or was it more of like a hindrance as you grew up?
Well, they threw me in it as a kid. Baseball. I dabbled in a bunch of sports, baseball, basketball, swimming, whatever I could really get my hands on that I wouldn't quit after a little while. Baseball, I was only a year in the making. Little T-ball, I got put in right field as a coach's son, so you can imagine how that went. So ended up sticking with football about 6th grade and rode it out the rest of the way.
Awesome. So as a kid in Georgia, football is obviously king.
Yeah.
Was football always the goal, or is it something you realized as you grew older?
It was a goal when I got to high school. My dad set me down, had a very important conversation with me about if football was what I wanted to continue with, where would be the best options for that. If we wanted to leave and go somewhere a little smaller and I could play a lot more all 4 years. Playing at our high school, we were very successful nationally, one of the biggest public school programs. So I wouldn't be a 4-year starter. I wouldn't be, all conference, all state 4 years in a row. So I had that conversation. If you stay at Grayson, you'll always go somewhere. But we could go to a smaller school. I could just have fun. I could start over, have new friends. But ultimately, I stuck out with my best friends, grinded, stayed at a good program, and it got me here. So no regrets.
Dang, okay. And what led you to tight end? Did you play that your whole life? Is it something you got moved around a lot?
Yeah, so growing up in all Little League, Youth League, from 6th grade till high school, I was a guard. So that kind of – I feel like it helped me with my nastiness, my blocking style now. That's what I love to do. I love pancaking people. I love moving somebody from point A to point B. So, I was a guard growing up. So pulling guard is what I was.
Somehow I feel like that's the reverse of what happens with most people.
Yeah.
Most people, it's like a tight end, and they're like, yeah, you're going to play tackle or guard, man.
Yeah, I got to high school, and they're like, well, we're going to try you out tight end. And I'm like, oh, God, it was the first day of summer practice. And so started tight end and then just rode it out 9th grade year, started my first year playing that position, rode it out through high school, and here we are.
Did you ever play on the defensive side of the ball?
I did, 9th grade year. They want us to play both ways, but our school was so big. I mean, we dressed 115 on varsity. There was no need to play both ways. So out of our JV, so we had a 9th, a JV, and a varsity team, so there was no need. Unless you're, one of those crazy 5-stars that we had a few of. They got to play both ways sometimes, but most time it was position specific. So.
Do you feel like that helped you because you got to focus on something specifically instead of having to play both ways?
Oh, yeah, definitely. I have a lot of buddies, obviously being in Western North Carolina, that played ball just locally, and they're playing like 6-7 different positions in just one season, just wherever they're needed. I couldn't imagine over all 4 years they probably played every position known to man. But yeah, I definitely feel like it helped me just focus on tight end, just to focus on techniques and the skills that I needed, and so just train for that position specific. So yeah, I definitely feel like it helped.
Yeah, shout out to Ty Snelson for having to play running back in high school.
Yeah,
and then learn to be a tight end later.
That kid was crazy.
Yeah, that's pretty common around here.
Yeah,
to
crazy
play both
athletic.
ways. And you just play running back. Well, in Georgia, it's kind of the same way. A lot of the best athletes, they just put them at quarterback.
They do.
And then they play wide out in college.
Anywhere.
Yeah.
So depends on how your body grows too. So.
All right, so you're getting to the end of high school and you're starting to get college offers. How did you hear about Mars Hill, and what led you to choosing Mars Hill?
So heard about Mars Hill from the North Gwinnett boys, Jimmy Urzua, TJ Skinner, Justin Bullock, the boys from North Gwinnett. And then obviously Joe Hillen lives down the road from me. Played at South Gwinnett High School as offensive line coach here. So I'd heard about him, never got to meet him until he came to my house one night with Thomas Reese, who was the receivers coach here. Very familiar with the area, both of them, so they recruited me hard. And the North Gwinnett boys pushed hard too. They were awesome. So I started picking up steam. Some other schools in the conference came calling. Then Joe and Coach Reese came calling, Coach Surratt. So that's how I heard about Mars Hill. Came up here for the first official visit. I was welcomed with open arms. Jimmy and JB and TJ were all over me. I love them though. They're my brothers now. They give me crap. They beat me. I hate talking about it, but I bet they talked about it. They beat me my sophomore year, their junior year to win state. We played them at their place. Third round of the playoffs, they beat us. Our second round went and played Colquitt after, and then they won in the national champion or in the state championship. So, those are the reasons why I'm here, and I love them. I love it. So.
Okay. All right. So one of our favorite things to talk about is when students get here, when football players get here, there's always a little bit of a shock, right, when you first get on the field. Do you have a moment? It's like a oh crap moment. This is different than high school. I know you played at a pretty athletic high school, but was there a moment where somebody's size or speed or something really threw you for a loop?
Yeah, it was definitely spring practice. My freshman year, we call it spring practice. It was the COVID season. So those 3 games where we practiced 70 times, that was definitely like the oh crap moment. Like, this is hard. This is way more demanding than just high school football. But playing that first game against Tusculum, when their defensive tackle came out to a 4-eye, and he's probably 6'3", 310 pounds, and I had to go down and block him. That was an oh crap moment because I was a big boy.
Yeah.
And so it was fun. Those first few catches and against Tusculum, that was a fun game. But it was also oh crap, these are big guys. These are obviously going against our guys all spring though got me ready for it. But
sure, is that something that's completely changed? I'm sure in high school you see 1 or 2 guys on the other side of the field that you're like, that's a real, he's a freak.
Yeah.
Is that the biggest difference?
It definitely is size. I feel like, going against some former high-ranking prospects there, but you're still in high school. Your body changes when you get to college. The weight room, food, all that can help you. It gets you bigger, stronger. So definitely coming up here and having to block, 4th and 5th year seniors made a big difference as a 19-year-old. So it was definitely a shock, especially coming to college 3.5 hours away, just not from football, just the culture shock of being in Western North Carolina versus the city of Atlanta.
Yeah, it's a very big difference.
Very big difference.
What was the biggest shock for you?
Dude, the traffic. They don't believe traffic's not a thing up here. It's awesome. It take me 15 minutes to go to my high school 2 miles down the road at home, and now traffic's just not a thing up here.
What's funny is if you talk to people from Asheville, they'll be like, I can't believe the traffic.
Yeah, I mean, just drive through Atlanta just one time.
Yeah.
Just to make it through Atlanta.
It is funny, though, if you'd have been here 20 years ago, you're talking about no traffic. Yeah. Absolutely no traffic.
Yeah.
Okay, so what's one of the biggest challenges about playing tight end that people don't realize? Obviously, you guys catch the ball, you block. What are some of the little things that you have to do or asked to do that people don't realize? A lot. There's a lot of things a tight end's asked to do. Blocking the bigger guys, like I mentioned, the 4-eye tech, the 5s, the 6. In college, you get bigger guys moving out a little wider, and so we're having to block bigger bodies. Ties back into the high school question, but a lot of people refer to the tight end, especially our offensive corners, like the jackknife, like the hybrid who should be able to play in a lot of positions and know a lot of things. And so that's what Coach Strat asks us personally here, is to know what every receiver does, the X, the Z, the Y, the F. Know the difference between fullback and the F receiver. It's 2 different things. Knowing what the tight end has compared to the fullback on inside zone. Just being able to be right there behind the quarterback and knowing the whole offense, what the offensive line has, having to be able to communicate with them in different calls and different fronts, stuff like that. So that's probably the biggest thing that people don't know about the tight end. It's not just go run a corner route for George Kittle and catch a touchdown and look cool. It's knowing what everybody on offense has to do, so that way you can either help out or know where you fit in a different front. I'm actually glad you brought up the fullback part of it because for people that are a little more old school in football, they won't understand the tight ends being rotated to fullback as often as they are now, especially in our offense, but it's also in the NFL.
Yeah.
The 49ers do it. Quite a few teams do it now.
There's a lot of teams that do it.
When's the first time you kind of ran into that? Was that in high school, or did you do that?
In high school, we used an H-back and a tight end, so we were in 12 a lot. I was more the down tight end, and we had another fullback, kid younger than me, Jeremy, who played H-back. So,
okay, so you were familiar with some of the zone concepts and
yes,
stuff.
Yes, sir. So I learned both. It was a new offense my senior year. Had Coach Carter come in, and my high school Coach Carter, and he came in and we ran a different offense. We went from more of a spread, throw the ball around a lot, to a 12 to a 2 tight end offense. So there was a lot of challenges with learning it, but I got it down packed, and it helped me when I came up here because I knew a lot of the concepts, a lot of the zone plays, so stuff like that.
One of the cool things about being a tight end is that there are different types of tight ends. There's like what you brought up, George Kittle, or you have like Kyle Pitts, who's just a receiver that pretends to be a tight end.
Hey, go Falcons.
How do you see yourself? Like, who do you try to model your game after, or who do you take pieces of your game after?
That's a good question. I'd say, you want to say the big names like Kittle and Kelsey and all of them, but then you got like tight ends like Higbee, like Tyler Higbee on the Rams, who's very good at blocking. You also got Kittle, who is very good at blocking in his own rights. So stuff like that. But I also like Kyle Juszczyk, like smaller guys who just block, and the Ty Snelson body styles. And but yeah, I'd say Tyler Higbee is probably who I look at the most in terms of me and watching and enjoying what I'm watching.
Yeah, he's almost like the guy that would have been a traditional tight end, but kind of figured out some of the catching stuff a little bit better.
Yeah,
so he's a little more athletic than maybe.
Yeah. So the juice checks are fun to watch because they love to hit, but no one uses traditional fullbacks anymore. So he's kind of the closest we have to, old style fullbacks. So
okay, cool. Pre-game ritual. We talked with TJ about this. He had a pretty funny one. Do you have any type of pre-game ritual that you do?
I wear the same pair of underwear every game. That's about all I got.
Do you wash it?
We wash
okay.
it. Yeah, gotta wash it. But no, that's that, and probably listen to music. I do watch the same football highlights over and over again. Like Tavon Austin from when we were young, some old school football highlights, just to get me in the mood. Just carrying those. Those were the highlights that I was watching in middle school or back when those players were in their prime. So stuff like that. Just trying to stick to the same script.
Would that be your favorite highlight mixtape to watch?
Dude,
you pumped up with Tavon Austin?
I think it is Tavon Austin. That dude was crazy. He's crazy electric. His highlights at West Virginia were probably are the best college football highlights to date still, ever.
Okay, I would challenge you to rewatch Reggie Bush's college highlights.
But Tavon, now Reggie Bush did it all. He did. And then you got Vince Young, who's right there too.
Yeah,
so
that was my favorite.
There were some nasty players. I know Johnny Manziel was nasty in college. We got to watch him. I didn't get to watch Reggie Bush in person, but Johnny Manziel was definitely up there too. So
I'm glad you brought up Tavon Austin because I think people would forget, just because you don't think about his college highlights, but they were unbelievable.
Yeah, especially with his NFL career not being the best ever. But those college highlights were insane. All of the boys. We'd go to one of the middle school games together, having the carpool. So there'd be 5 of us, and we'd ask Dad to plug it into the car so we could all hear the audio, and we'd hold the phone up in the middle of the car and watch it all. So that's probably the thing I still watch today is just old football highlights.
Yeah, me and Jake discussed in our interview. It's a little bit like the Tim Tebow effect, where you forget how good
you really
they were in their collegiate level.
Yeah.
All right, so favorite game here that you've been a part of. I've gotten some different answers on this, but I'd love to hear your take.
That's a good question. At home, Tusculum this year was a lot of fun. Winning the Mountain Division Championship at home in front of the whole sold-out crowd, that was an awesome feeling. Especially us being able to run the ball on them all game long, do whatever we wanted to do. We got to the point where we could go out and talking trash to Tusculum. I'd say we're running outside zone this way, come stop us, and then it's a good feeling to still get a first down on that. Moving a human being that knows where the play is going from point A to point B is one of my favorite things about playing tight end. But it was one of the favorite moments about that game because we just did what we wanted to do to them and got the win and got the rings and got out of there. So
it's actually my favorite type of trash talk is the Tim Duncan trash talk.
Yes.
Where you're just like, I'm gonna score by doing this, but it's not like you're even doing anything crazy. You're just telling them what's gonna happen.
Yeah, that second half, I think we ran outside zone at the minimum of 20 times, and we got to the point where just talking crap to all them players, and it's like, hey man, we're gonna beat you this way, and I'm telling you, the ball's gonna go right here. Just come and try and make a play, and they didn't get to make the play. So
I'm sure that's an excellent feeling.
It was a real good feeling. They didn't shake our hands after the game, but it was a real good feeling.
Okay, so you had a really successful season last year.
Yeah.
Mountain Division champions, made it to the conference championship. What are your goals for this fall for the team, and then some personal goals you have?
Yeah, so it was a really good season last year. Everybody did our parts. We just fell right short. So that would be the team goal, is to make it to that point again, but not fall short, obviously, win it and move on to the D2 playoffs, national playoffs. So that would be the team goal. Some personal goals, though, my biggest thing is picking up leadership. We're losing a lot of team leaders from this past season. You got Seth Branham, who was our starting center 5 years. The Branham, you got Jimmy Arzua, our quarterback, who did an amazing job. People don't understand what being in the offense for 5 years can do as a quarterback. You just know everything. He knows what to think before Surratt calls it. So, or before we run our play. So Jimmy's already one step ahead, and then obviously Ty, just being Ty. He wasn't the biggest leader, but it was very leadership off of what he was doing, off of the plays he'd make, and so one of my best friends. But losing all 3 of those guys are some of my closest best friends. But losing those 3 definitely had to pick up the leadership now. So that'd be a personal goal. Obviously, being all conference, you want to say all that stuff. You'd be lying if you say you didn't look at it, but some of that stuff. My biggest goals would be to win and then pick up leadership on team and help other people.
Yeah, you're in a really unique position because you talked about some of the guys that left. Jimmy, you talked about Seth, and then also Vaughn came in and was extraordinary for a year. But you've been here with Ty for a few years.
Yeah.
So you kind of have that mantle that you can help take. What are some things with that? You said leadership. Is that the main thing that you think you need to come in and take over some of the void that's gonna be left from him?
Yeah. So from the void that's left from him and the void that's left all over the place, went through spring without both of our starting tackles as well. Leandre Andreas and Justin Bullock, best 2 tackles in the league. All conference, all they should be all American players. They're unbelievable. We got steals with them. They've been here 4 and 5 years, but they didn't go through this spring with us just for internship and school reasons. So nothing bad, but just getting those internships done so they can graduate at some point. So being very young on the offensive side of the ball, we had 3 new running backs. We got a new quarterback, and we also got Brody Whitson coming back. So, but still younger guys. All the receivers are catching up in age now. They're all my age or a year younger, so they're picking it up. But the leadership we lost from the quarterback and the whole offensive line and then our quarterback tight end room the leadership we lost was big. So just helping those young kids grow, helping them come in, fill the shoes, because we went through a month and a half of practices without half of our offense. So. Or the guys that will be here in the fall. So
right, and looking at you mentioned like the receivers. So you and Malik have been here for a while.
Yeah.
And there's
Jahari
a lot of
Mitchell.
talent at the tight end and receiver position.
There is.
So how do you feel about the tight end team this year moving forward? I know you lost Ty, which is it's a big loss, but there's a lot of talent at that position.
We are very good at the tight end position. Surratt's bragged about it for years now. We lose Ty, but then we gain Tristan Brank from Akron, who was very good up there for the years that he played. Irwin kid, local kid. And then you got Baxley O'Brien from Rabin and Flowery Branch area in Georgia, coming from Mercer. So we're very good in the tight end room. Our receiver room has Jahari Mitchell, who I just mentioned. He'll be coming back from a knee injury against Erskine last year. He'll be back. Malik's back. You got Noah Pittman, who's my roommate, one of my best friends. He's stepping up as a leadership role. So, but we got a lot of talent in both those rooms, and we figured out in the offensive line, and we figured out at running back we could be very, very good. So
absolutely. So we've talked football. Your major is
HHP, so I'm gonna be a PE coach.
Okay,
that's what my concentration is.
That's all. Are you trying to go back to Georgia to do that, or do you know where you want to be after this?
Yeah, so I want to be a PE coach. I think my biggest thing is coaching football. So I would love to go back to Georgia, to my roots. I love Gwinnett County. I love North Metro Atlanta. That's where Gwinnett County is. That's where all of us are from. All of us Georgia boys is North Metro Atlanta, North Metro Georgia. So I love the South Georgia area, but I do love it up here as well. We just gotta make sure I can live off it, because the high school teacher pay isn't the best up here. But I would love to stay here in GA at one point. Hang out with the coaches a little more, get to learn. They're all so intelligent. They've been doing it for so long. There's so many things you can learn from this coaching staff. So I would love to stay with them and learn a little bit. But we'll see what time tells. Maybe I'll get an opportunity back home. So I'd love to be closer to the family is my big thing. My little sister's one of my best friends. So she's going to Anderson, South Carolina. So I guess shout out them. Get my little sister. But being close to my family would be my biggest thing. But, yeah, wherever opportunity arises.
At least they're on the northern side. If they're on the southern side of Atlanta, going to visit them
it'd be
miserable.
Horrible. Yeah, horrible. So they're all. I think the plan in the next few years is to move up a little closer to South Carolina. So get a little closer. I've been up here for 4 years and I never talked about moving. But when my little sister, the princess, moves up, they talk about moving a little closer up north. So
that's how it always goes. Man.
Who knows? Yeah.
All right, so we're gonna give you some rapid fire questions before you go. Just some kind of interesting tidbits about yourself. So, best concert that you've ever been to?
Big Jimmy Buffett fan. I went to Jimmy Buffett as a kid, and then went to Co-Wetzel in Asheville a few weeks ago. That was a really good concert. They both put on really good concerts. And then I got 3. Post Malone in Atlanta 4 years ago for the.
Had to throw some variety in there.
Some variety. Hey man, I'm all about the music, but yeah, those are 3 really good concerts. If I had to pick one, probably the Jimmy Buffett when I was a kid. It was awesome.
It's an icon.
Fins, yeah. Cheeseburger in Paradise. You can't get wrong.
Yeah, absolutely. Favorite sports movie?
We just talked about this before. Moneyball. I think I just rewatched it again. Just talking to the family about it. Moneyball is an awesome movie.
Yeah, not to spend too much time on it, but the scene where he goes to tell Chris Pratt's character, like, you're going to play baseball again, is like such an awesome scene.
Awesome. Yeah, it's a great movie.
Yeah, unbelievable. We were talking about the acting.
It's phenomenal. They did an awesome job.
Yeah, they really did.
Yeah.
All right, favorite dessert?
Oh, what do they call it? The cookie cake with 2 vanilla ice cream scoops on top from Chili's.
That is oddly specific.
That is our best. That is the best one there is.
Okay, I completely understand.
Hey, you go to Chili's and you try it. It's awesome.
All right. Go-to pizza toppings.
Oh, probably meat lovers. Anything meat is probably the go-to, or that or cheese. Just plain. Can't go wrong with just plain cheese.
Yeah.
But that's probably
Okay.
it too.
If you're ordering pizza fast food, where are you ordering from?
Oh, that's a good one. Little Caesars.
Yeah, you just going to Little Caesars.
Just going to Little Caesars.
Man, if the
Hot and
inflation
ready.
hadn't risen the prices, though,
I know.
that's what's killing me.
Hey, that's the one back home though. We got one right down the road. So I grew up on Little Caesars. So
Okay.
that's probably Little Caesars.
All right, I completely appreciate that. If you didn't play sports growing up, what hobbies do you think you would have tried?
Oh, man, I love video games. That's my.
Okay.
I think it's a normal answer though.
Let's take video games off the table.
Yeah,
because you play video games anyway.
Got to code something better. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oddly specific. The coaches were making fun of me a few weeks ago. Fish keeping, marine biology, stuff like that. I'm big into. Grew up younger with fish tanks and fish. That's what I put all my money into growing up. All the Christmas, birthday money, any money I could rack up under the couches, it went to my fish tanks. So that's what I originally wanted to go to college for, was marine biology. Until you learn, you get to a certain point where you got to start looking at colleges and figuring out where everything's at. And you're like, there's only marine biology on the coast.
Yeah, and the
East and
jobs
West.
are somewhat limited.
And yeah, so I'm like, that or coaching. Coaching would be easier for me. I've been around it my whole life. So went with coaching, but marine biology is probably something that only a few people know that I took very seriously and I loved. So
Well, see, that was an awesome answer.
yeah.
Now,
Besides video games.
if you played video games, what's your favorite type of stuff to play?
Probably sports games. I love MLB the Show, obviously Madden, 2K, the hardcore sports games. MLB's gotten bigger though the past few years. I know me and all my buddies have played it, and buddies who haven't gotten on the game before have gotten on it. So, yeah, probably sports games.
You're
love
a
Call
Braves
of Duty.
fan?
Yeah, I'm
So you just play Braves?
I just play anything Braves. My whole team is Braves.
It's like there's been 2 good times in my life to be a Braves fan.
Yeah.
And it's like now and 25 years ago.
yeah.
or whatever, 30 years ago.
Chipper
whatever.
and Andrew Jones.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
So that's hardcore Braves fan.
So is it all Atlanta sports for you?
Yeah, it's all Atlanta sports. Used to be a Miami Heat fan when LeBron was there. And I was like, I can't be a bandwagon. So, got with the Hawks. And so, but I diehard Braves fan. Grew up going to all 3 stadiums. We used to go to all the Atlanta Falcons games. Roddy White, Tony Gonzalez,
Yeah.
OG Matt Ryan, Michael Turner. We could go on about that.
That was a
but
fun team.
That was. Those few years were a lot of fun.
Do you have a favorite Atlanta play, like of any of the sports franchises' favorite player?
See, that's a good question. Roddy White, receiver,
That's a good one.
84. OG on the Falcons, receiver, 84. Yeah, he's probably my favorite. But now Ronald Acuna Jr.'s
Okay.
he's on the rise. He's getting close to him.
Yeah, I went to the Braves Stadium for the first time last year, the newer one or whatever, and it was unbelievable.
Truist Park. I tell people all the time it's the best place on earth.
It's awesome.
Besides Mars Hill. But
There you go. That's a good selling pitch right
all
there.
the summer, every summer we go home, all my buddies and me. JB's one of those, Justin Bullock, Chandler Hood, some of our old buddies. TJ, we'll go to all those games. My best friend back home, Austin, we try and go to the Gwinnett Stripers game, which is right there in Gwinnett County, the AAA affiliate, and then we go to the Atlanta Braves games all the time we can. So it's fun. It's a good time.
That's awesome, man.
Yeah.
All right, you got any shout-outs before we let you go?
Yeah, I got obviously everybody up here at Mars Hill, the staff, everybody that makes it fun, enjoyable. It's about the relationships. You can want to come to this school, but the relationships are big. I could spend a lot of time talking about all of them, but obviously my mom, my dad, my biggest influences. My little sister's my best friend, Austin Matson, like I mentioned back home, my best friend. All my family, Noah Pittman, my coaches. I could go on, but everybody's been in my corner, my support system. They know who they are.
That's awesome, man. We really appreciate you coming on
Yes,
today.
sir. Well, I appreciate you for having me.
Yeah,
It's been
absolutely.
fun. Yes, sir. Well, thank you.
Thank you for watching this interview with the Marshall University football program. If you all enjoyed the content, make sure to like and subscribe for more.